ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय. जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय. श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र महारानी की जय. श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय. समवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे. हरि हरि बो. हरे कृष्णा. So let's continue on our discussion on the Atmarama verse. We are discussing about the 61 explanations which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Srila Sanatana Goswami. So we discussed how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he related the Atmarama, the word Atmarama, to different personalities. We saw he related it to the so far we saw Atmaramas are those who worship Brahman. We discussed Antaryami Upashakas also, those who are worshippers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Paramatma inside the heart. And then the word Atmarama in relation to the word Atma referring to different meanings. We were discussing how Atma sometimes it refers to body, mind, general meaning is soul. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave the meaning of the word Atma to relate to even words like endeavor. Endeavor is the effort that we actually put. So in some contexts the word Atma also means the sincere effort which we actually put in the service of the Supreme Lord. So this is Atmarama. So this word Atma, it's given in context of each of these different words, and we'll continue with this. I was looking at these verses and I was thinking with the pace of how we are going, we can finish Madhya Leela before Gaura Purnima and we'll start Antya Leela immediately after Gaura Purnima. I think this time Gaura Purnima comes on a Friday. That's just to give you an idea about the timeline. So we are in Madhya Leela, chapter 24, text 172. Devotional perfection is very difficult to attain for two reasons. Yesterday we discussed this. The first and foremost difficulty on the path of bhakti, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, is to get attached to Krishna. So one needs to have attachment to Krishna. Without attachment, one cannot progress in bhakti. And the second thing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says is, we can try on our own, but Krishna doesn't easily give bhakti also. And we were touching on this past time about how Krishna, when he gives charity to anyone and everyone, he'll immediately give gold, silver, whatever they want, valuable stones. But those who say, I want bhakti, Krishna will make them wait. Okay, so Krishna won't readily give bhakti easily. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives easily. Nityananda Prabhu gives easily. Panchatattva, they give easily. Prabhupada gives easily. But Krishna himself doesn't give. Srimati Radharani gives very easily. So that's why we need to take shelter of these devotees. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And we were touching on few verses in Bhagavad Gita, how every instruction in Bhagavad Gita, if you see, it will be like a contract between Krishna and his devotees. Usually the first half of the verse would say what the devotee is supposed to do, and the second half of the verse would say how Krishna will reciprocate. So even this verse is a classical example. Tesham satatektanam bhajatam priti purvakam, which means to those who are constantly devoted to worshipping me with love, which is from devotee side. From our side, we have to constantly worship him with love. After that, Krishna will reciprocate. How will he reciprocate? I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So Krishna is a hard task master. Unless you do your endeavor, Krishna won't give himself very easily. Now, unlike Krishna, but same Krishna when he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he doesn't see who is qualified, who is not qualified. He just gives himself very easily. That's why you will see one thing that will surprise us very often, especially those coming from Hindu background, even Indian background, Asian background, how easily even people coming from non-Hindu background, they are able to embrace Krishna consciousness so easily. And many times you'll be surprised with the level of commitment they actually have. It will put you to shame. Reason is, they take exclusive shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whoever takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Hare Krishna, whoever takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will make progress very, very fastly, very quickly, very easily. And whoever doesn't take, they will continue to struggle. Katanchana smriteyasmin dushkaram shukaram bhavet vishmrite viparitam syat Sri Chaitanyam namamitam, which means even things which are very difficult to obtain can be easily attained if one takes to the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But one who fails to do so, they will find even easy things to be very difficult. So whoever takes the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will find their path of bhakti yoga, will find their path of spirituality becoming very easy. Even the most difficult things become very easy. Like eating food, eating prasadam, simple things like even chanting, or the most difficult things like chanting, they'll become very easy. If you go to holy places of pilgrimage, like in India or any other holy place you go, generally the ambience itself will push us to be more spiritual. You'll find it very easy. Even when you come to temple, it'll bring out the spiritual side. You'll find the vibes itself carrying you forward. The whole ambience itself will be very conducive for us to practice Krishna consciousness. Now we may think, I remember before joining the temple as a monk, every time I used to come to temple, whenever I leave the temple, when I just go past the gate, I would think, oh, how nice it would be if I can just stay here. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, we can invoke the place of pilgrimage in our heart itself. We can always live in holy dham. We can always live in the holy place of pilgrimage simply by carrying Krishna with us, simply by carrying whatever experience we have with us. And wherever we go, we can carry the same state of consciousness, not just when we do yoga holding the japamala, or not just when we do any other devotional service in the temple, but that consciousness we can take, and wherever we go, it will come with us. So that way, 24/7, we can practice bhakti yoga. That way, 24/7, we can stay connected, in contact with Krishna, that way. So, here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually saying that Krishna doesn't give bhakti easily. Attaining shelter of Krishna is not very easy if one endeavors on their own. But if one endeavors based on the mercy, the grace of the Guru, grace of the spiritual master, grace of pure devotees, then it becomes easy. This morning, Ghanashyam Govinda Prabhu, he was touching on a pastime which happened in one of the morning walks of Srila Prabhupada. When Prabhupada actually sees one of his lady disciples carrying a baby, Prabhupada just jokes saying, so how do you carry your baby? Do you carry like a monkey carrying the baby, or are you carrying your baby like how a cat would do, the kitten? And Prabhupada says, those who do yoga, who think I can actually attain success on my own, they are said to be following monkey style. If you see how a monkey carries a baby monkey, mother monkey doesn't do any work. Baby monkey has to hold on to the mother monkey. And to the extent the baby monkey is holding on to the mother, to that extent baby monkey is safe. But sometimes when the mother monkey jumps from one tree to the other, if the baby monkey finds it like, too hard to hold, it will fall. On the other hand, have you seen how a kitten goes? Very lazy. It doesn't do anything. It just plays, rolls around, and the mother comes, catches the back of the neck, and then it will just go. Baby cat doesn't need to do anything. So which style should we follow? What's your name? Molly. Let's chant one Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Molly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Wonderful. We have to do both. Why do we have to do both? Why do you have to do both is, from our side, we have to make an endeavor like the baby monkey. Then if we do that, then Krishna will carry us like a mother cat carrying the kitten. But if we think, I won't do any work, let Krishna alone carry me, it may take some time. Long time. If we don't make the endeavor, Prabhupada would often say, God helps those who help themselves. So we need to make some endeavor. We need to take at least one step, second step. Then Krishna will give us His grace. Okay, in fact, to the extent we make the endeavor, you will see reciprocation coming from Krishna. Okay, another meaning of Atma is Dhriti or endurance. A person who endeavors with endurance is Atmarama. With endurance, such a person engages in devotional service. Once some devotees, they came back in Paris after doing whole day, going to the streets, chanting the holy names of the Lord, coming back to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was staying in the temple. And so Prabhupada asked, so how was your day? How did you share the message of Krishna with everyone? And the devotee said, Prabhupada, we tried our best, but this activity is very difficult. Sankirtan is very difficult. And Prabhupada replied, when did I say spreading the message of Krishna is easy? And then Prabhupada says, you see Jesus Christ, how much he had to struggle in such an young age. And you take any bhakta, you take Prahlad Maharaj, barely 5 years old, what all he had to endure. You take any instance of any yogi who is successful in bhakti or in any other process. When did they have the journey laid out like a bed of roses? No. No pain, no gain. So there is always going to be difficult. However, if we are intelligent, we can take help from those who can give us more inspiration, who can give us that spiritual energy. Then with that, same difficult process becomes easy. Introducing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if we take shelter of Lord Chaitanya, simply by chanting Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhar, Shiva Shadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Every time we chant holy name of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So whenever we chant Chaitanya's name, then even the most difficult things become very easy. So here another meaning of the word Atma is endurance. Endeavor is one meaning, body is one meaning, mind, soul. Atma also means endurance. My dear mother, in this forest, all the birds, after rising on the beautiful branches of the trees, are closing their eyes and are being attracted by any other sound and not being attracted by any other sound, or simply listening to the vibration of Krishna's flute. Such birds must be on the same level as great saints. Whole idea of meditation is to get all the senses to focus on doing one single activity. So that you can do sitting in lotus position as dhyana yogis do. Yesterday we were discussing the different stages. Yoga Rurukshu, Yoga Ruda, Prapta Siddhi. They are the different stages. Like beginning stage, intermediate stage and advanced stage. So same way, in Bhakti Yoga, instead of doing silent meditation, what we do is, we pick up the beads or we pick up the music instruments and we sing the holy name of the Lord. And if you see, during the whole performance of Kirtan, or even if you do japa meditation, sound meditation, all the senses are focused. At least most of the senses are focused to doing the same activity. You won't talk with the other person when you do that. Your mind won't be even thinking of other things. Rarely it may. But most of the times if you see all the senses, including our hands, sense of hearing, sense of tasting, of the 5 senses, 3 senses are already focused in one. So if you do japa, you can think that way. So same way here, what are the birds in Vrindavan doing? Birds in Vrindavan, when they hear Krishna's flute, they just stop doing what they are doing and they simply hear. So it is mentioned, each one of these different living entities in Vrindavan, they are all very highly enlightened yogis, because only somebody who had practiced meditation for such a long time, they can focus all their attention to just one single point, one single place. And it comes natural to them. So they attained this position even in the body of a bird after so much endeavor. That's what it means. All the cranes and swans in the water are being enchanted by the melodious song of Krishna's flute. They have approached and are worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full attention. Alas, they are closing their eyes and becoming completely silent. The word dhriti is also used when one is fully perfect in knowledge. When due to having obtained the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has no material miseries, he attains Mahapurna, the highest level of perfection. Dhriti is the fullness felt due to the absence of misery and the attainment of knowledge of the Supreme Lord and pure love for Him. The lamentation that accrues from not obtaining a goal or from losing something already attained does not affect this completeness. Yam labdva chaparam labham. Manyate nadikam tata. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, normally in our material endeavors, even after you attain something, let's say somebody works very hard and they attain and they earn a lot of money. Two things they will have to face according to the yoga scriptures. One is they'll have the fear of losing it anytime. Anytime somebody can come and they steal it. And the second thing, they'll still be hankering that. Their mind will still look on someone else who is more richer than them and they'll be looking at them. I would still want to know more. I would still want to gain more. So these two things will be there. One is the hankering to earn more, and the second is fear of losing what you have already. However, when one comes to Krishna consciousness, when one attains Krishna, Prabhupada says, for devotees, Krishna's lotus feet is the secret treasure, chest. So, after somebody comes to the lotus feet of Krishna, practicing bhakti yoga, when one gets that taste, when one's consciousness is fixed, Krishna says, Yam labdva chaparam labham. Now, the same two misery which they would have gone through if they had attained something material, they don't need to go through after attaining Krishna's lotus feet. Yam labdva chaparam labham means after attaining which one would feel, I have nothing more to attain. After attaining which one will feel, this is something between me and Krishna, me and God, nobody can take it away. No material situation can take anything away from me. One will be very, very clear with that. So here, that's what it's mentioned, that one, dhriti in fullness felt due to the absence of misery. That's what it means. When we practice Krishna consciousness, when we practice bhakti yoga, then we don't get disturbed by anything. We don't feel I'm missing something. The only thing we miss now is material difficulties. We don't miss anything else. Madhya chapter 24, text 182. A devotee of Krishna is never in a miserable condition, nor does he have any desire other than to serve Krishna. He is experienced and advanced. He feels the transcendental bliss of love of Krishna and always engages in his service in full perfection. My devotees, having fulfilled their desires by serving me, do not accept four kinds of salvation that are easily earned by such service. Why then should they accept any pleasures that are lost in the due course of time? The word cha is for emphasis and the word api is used to indicate an aggregate. Thus, it is to be understood that even dull creatures, birds, can also be situated, birds and illiterates can also be situated in endurance and engage in Krishna's devotional service. The word Atma is also used for a particular type of intelligence. Since all the living entities generally have some intelligence, more or less, they are included. I was speaking to Ghanashyam Govinda Prabhu and he was telling me, I was asking him, some flowers, if you see, inherently they'll always carry some tiny little worms. Have you seen? like mohra, for example. Very fragrant, but they still carry. And now pujaris are always faced with the dilemma, should we offer or shouldn't we? On one hand, it's fragrant, so we want to offer it. But on the other hand, they still have some tiny little living entities there. Is it worthy? Is it pure to be offered? We don't know. So I asked this question, and he quoted Prabhupada, and he said, once they asked the same question to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, if you have a flower, thank you, Hare Krishna, please come again. So when they asked Prabhupada about it, so Prabhupada said, if you offer a flower, you throw it to at the lotus feet of Krishna, you offer it at the lotus feet of Krishna, and if there happens to be an ant in that flower, and if the flower goes and kisses Krishna's lotus feet, the ant will go back to Godhead. Then on a more practical sense, Prabhu said, yes, we should not offer flowers. Sometimes when we bring flowers from outside, you have to be careful, even when you offer to Prabhupada. So you have to be very, very careful. Check for the insects. It's offensive to actually offer anything with insects, anything with even tiny little worms, for example. So then I asked him, Prabhu, but almost all the fragrant flowers, even before we get attracted, insects get attracted to that. So what can be done? Then he said, you can take it, leave it in the sun for some time. So the insects will go away. Then you can actually offer it. So that's on a more practical sense. So even birds, illiterates, little insects, everyone is a devotee of Krishna. And we come across in the Shastras, we have elephant, who is a devotee of Krishna, Gajendra. You will come across, actually, His Holiness Janananda Maharaj, he wrote a book, Animals in Krishna Consciousness. That's the name of the book. There you will find devotees, Jatayu, vulture, Vanaras, monkeys. So you will come across devotees of Krishna in so many different species of life and how they offer service to Krishna. So it doesn't matter what level of intelligence one possesses, it doesn't matter what consciousness one have, everyone is welcome to take shelter of Krishna. Prabhupada says in one place, generally, when there is some difficulty for someone, the tendency will be to take shelter of something. But Krishna is giving credit that if somebody is going through difficulty, instead of going anywhere, if they come and take shelter of Krishna, Krishna is giving them credit, saying, all right, you could have gone anywhere, you have come to me. So Krishna is considering them as pious, Prabhupada says. Even though actually the person is not going to Krishna out of love. Person needs something. Okay, imagine somebody who is very poor goes to a rich man. Will the rich man recognize the poor man? Yeah, finally you have come to me. Let me give you something. Usually not. In fact, the rich man won't even give any credit normally. But here Krishna is giving them credit, not just ordinary credit. He is saying, pious. You are very, very pious. Oh, you have come to me. But if you look at it from the receiver's perspective, he is going or she is going because they are in a desperate position. That's why they are going. But Krishna is, one of Krishna's 64 qualities is Kritagnya. Krishna is very, very grateful. Little effort we do, Krishna reciprocates. That's why we call mercy as costless. Totally out of proportion. You offer little leaf, Krishna is saying, if somebody offers me one little tulsi, I feel so indebted. Without knowing how to reciprocate with them, I give myself to them. And you think, for one leaf? We may think like that. But that is Krishna. Simple offering one does, Krishna feels so grateful. How much more Krishna will give himself? How much more Krishna will be pleased if we give our whole life, our whole heart, our whole consciousness to him? So, because it is very, very simple. Prabhupada says in one place, Krishna is so kind. Cow will go. Initially Krishna will embrace gopis will go, and then a cow will come. Cow, Prabhupada says, what does it know? All it does is just licking. So it just licks Krishna's body, and Krishna in reciprocation, he hugs the cow. Prabhupada says Krishna is so kind. Because cow, what other service can it do? It can't embrace, it can't sing. Of course, it gives milk for Krishna, but Krishna just embraces. So Prabhupada says this is Supreme Lord, absolute. It's not that you should not consider Krishna as an ordinary boy, just dancing with the gopis. Prabhupada says no. He hugs even the cows. He hugs everyone. Like that. So here, everyone has some kind of intelligence, and one who utilizes his intelligence is called an Atmarama. There are two types of Atmaramas. One is a learned scholar and philosopher, and the other is an uneducated, illiterate, foolish person. It doesn't matter. Still both are Atmarama. Why? Because they are still coming and taking shelter of Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of Krishna, they are considered to be most intelligent. By the mercy of Krishna and by the association of devotees, one increases his attraction to and intelligence for pure devotional service. Therefore, one gives up everything and engages himself at the lotus feet of Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes a few verses. Considering all these points, this is verse 191, considering all these points, when one engages in the service of Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna gives one the intelligence by which he can gradually progress toward perfection in service to the Lord. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is quoting it again. To be elevated to the platform of devotional service, the following 5 items should be observed. Satsanga, Krishna Seva, Bhagavata, Nama, Vrajevasa. Does that ring a bell? Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtana, Bhagavat Shravana, Mathura Vasa, Shraddhaya Murtira Shavana. To be elevated to the highest platform, to the platform of devotional service, the following 5 items should be observed. Association with devotees, engagement in the service of Lord Krishna, reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy names, and residence at Vrindavana or Mathura or any other holy place, like North Sydney. One's dormant love for Krishna gradually awakens if one is a little advanced in one of these items and his intelligence. The power of these 5 principles is very wonderful and difficult to understand. Even without faith in them, a person who is offenseless can awaken his dormant love for Krishna simply by being a little connected with them. Even if one doesn't have any faith. Namno hi yavati shakti Papa nirharane harihi tavat kartum na shaknomi patakam pataki naraha. Simply by even chanting the holy name of Krishna just once, one is able to counteract the reactions for more sins one is able to commit. It's mentioned like that. Than one is able to commit. Which means if somebody says Krishna, the amount of spiritual credit one gets, they will get so much that in order to neutralize that, if somebody has to do sins, one will not be able to do. That's what it means. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord once. Patakam patakinara. It's given. Okay, so simply by doing little bit, even if we have little faith in one of them, even without any faith, if one does it, it gives full benefit to one. If a person is actually liberal and intelligent, he can advance and become perfect in devotional service, even if he has material desires and serves the Lord with some motive. Somewhere we have to start. Usually our mind says, when you try to chant, it would say, anyway, you are disturbed already, just get disturbed even more. What's the point? Either you should be perfectionist or anything goes. But actually, that's not the point here. Krishna is saying, even if somebody has material desires, one should still muster as much sincerity as one possibly can and still do bhakti with whatever endeavor they can do. Then if we do that, then that simple endeavor attracts the mercy of the Supreme Lord. But if we sit happy thinking, anyway I can't be top 1, what's the point in being top 2? I'm not going to do anything. Then we cannot do anything in our life. If you think about even your job, I can't be number 1 in my job, so let me resign my job. Is that what we think? No. I can't be the number 1 cook, so I'm going to starve for the rest of my life. Is that what we think? Definitely not. But then why for Krishna alone we are being so exploited? So we need to understand, bhakti is a journey. Every day matters. Everything that we do, every single moment that we actually do matters. So at any point of time, whatever that we can do, we need to do to the best possible way we can do. If we do that, then Inspiration is something that you will get over a period of time as we continue with our endeavor. But if we wait to think, usually our mind says, let the mind be peaceful. What's the point in going to temple? Anyway, I'm disturbed. That's the whole point. Then you have more reason to come to temple. Has it ever told you? How many of you had your minds tell you that? Sometimes my mind tells me even when I'm sitting upstairs. No, that's not the point. Point is, then you have all the more reason to come and take shelter of Krishna. Now if you feel happy, then we think, oh, I'm very happy, I don't need to go to Krishna. No, wouldn't you like to be more happy? Wouldn't you like your happiness to last forever? Then again you have to go again. In all places, time, circumstance, we should always be thinking about Krishna, looking for an opportunity, looking for an excuse to be with Krishna all the time. Have you ever had Gopinath telling you, you are coming again? I saw you in the morning. Why are you wasting your time? Have you heard Krishna saying that? No. Krishna is always very happy, very peaceful. You come for morning, he'll give you breakfast Mahaprasad. You come during lunch, he'll give you Rajbhog Mahaprasad. You miss Rajbhog, you come in the evening. One devotee came, Arati finished. Actually a new person. They came, Arati finished. 4 o'clock. I was there outside and he said, oh, Arati finished. I said, yes. Oh, I wanted to come for Arati. I said, like, don't worry. Gopinath remembered you, so he saved you some Mahaprasad. So you take. Then he came, took some Mahaprasad. Then he asked me, when is the next Arati? Then I said, our next Arati is at 7 o'clock. And then after that, what do you do? I said, we serve more Mahaprasad. Then he stayed more. And he said, I feel very happy. I told him we have one more Arati. And he's asking, so you'll serve more Mahaprasad? I said, yeah, 9:15 another Mahaprasad. In fact, it works the other way around. Without offering food to Krishna, Krishna never gives darshan. Morning, as soon as he wakes up, you have to offer bhoga. Otherwise, no Mangalarati. Always remember, for bathing also, we need to offer him bhoga. Otherwise, Krishna doesn't take. Morning, whenever darshan happens, whenever there is arati, you remember, Krishna had already taken prasad, bhoga before. No food, no darshan. This is Krishna's policy. How many aratis you have, those many times he would have taken food. So in a day we have 6 aratis. 6 times minimum he'll take. Actually 2 more extra, that's a different story. Last time, after lying down in bed also he takes sweets. Good night, and then he goes to sleep. He wakes up with sweets. Going to bed, sleeping also he takes sweets. Krishna can digest. So, Krishna always, Tesham Satatayuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. I told you, right? Hard task master. You offer me bhoga, then I give you darshan. You surrender unto me, I deliver you from all sinful reaction. This is Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada says in one place, these 2 transcendental brothers, Gaur Nitai, they are so merciful, you can simply keep them and offer them just incense. Prabhupada is saying, even though according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, you are not supposed to just offer incense. Remember, in home, when you offer incense, remember to offer at least 1 flower. Technically, you are not supposed to offer only incense. You should offer some flower also immediately after that. So, but Prabhupada is saying, still Gaurnita is so merciful, you can simply offer incense alone. Agarbatti, light, offer, put it aside, sit down, pick up your bead bag and chant. Prabhupada says, they'll be happy. You don't need to do anything. That's how merciful they are. Okay, so we have to understand this is mood of Krishna. Mood of Krishna is, he'll always say, what have you got for me? And then if somebody doesn't give, Krishna will go demand. And he will go stealing also, you will see in Vrajalila. Okay, Krishna's father has 900,000 cows. His mother has special cows only to feed Krishna. And she'll give very special type of grass for those cows. And Pushpagandha, it's given. And then she will milk the cow herself. And the cow's milk will actually smell like lotus. And then she would come. You want to know what Krishna's alarm bell is in Vrindavan? Krishna sleeps. He would hear waking up the elderly gopis singing his glories and churning for butter, churning the milk curd for butter. And as they are doing, their bangles actually hit or they hit each other and he hears the clinging noise. That's the most auspicious sound and he'll wake up with a smile. So then Mother Yashoda make all of this with the Pushpagandha milk, make all butter, and he will give it to Krishna. Krishna would reject that and he'll go stealing. Sometimes I think, you see that photo where Mother Yashoda is chasing with the stick. I sometimes think he's really naughty, Mataji. Beat him like that. She is taking so much care and give Krishna, he is not actually going after that, running after to break someone else's pot and stealing, bringing bad name to Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba. So this is Krishna. The power of 5 principles is very wonderful and difficult to understand. Even without faith in them, a person who is offenseless can awaken his dormant love simply by being a little connected with them. Somehow. Which means Bhagavatam class, this is again our mind says, anyway I feel sleepy, why should I go to Bhagavatam class? Point is, even if you are feeling sleepy, you still come inside. They asked this question once to Gopal Krishna Maharaj. And he said, you will make more progress sleeping in Bhagavatam than sleeping in bed. So he said, come for Bhagavatam class and sleep. Even then, even a little endeavor, Krishna will try to give credit. Sometimes if the question paper is very difficult, the teacher may give some grace marks like that. Even if you are dozing off, Krishna will give credit. That's the mood of Jagannath actually. Even Jagannath, it's mentioned when Jagannath comes for Ratha, when they pull the Ratha, at that time, even if there is a drunkard drinking and he is falling because he can't really hold himself up, Jagannath will think, oh my dear devotee, doing obeisance to me, Sometimes you read this and you think, Jagannath, this is too much, On one hand, we go through so much Vidhi Marg, so difficult, and you are giving credit like this. Jagannath is so merciful. So, even a little endeavor, Nama Kirtan. Again, what's the point in offensively chanting? Don't worry, there is I can give you Shastric evidence to counteract all the whims of the mind. So even to think, what's the point in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? Or if I open the book, I won't read. No problem. Just open the book. Don't read. Hold it. You will take credit. Same thing for chanting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, offensive chanting is much better than no chanting at all. Sometimes we may think, rather than chanting offensively, okay, let me not chant at all. That's not accepted. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, yes, offenseless chanting is better than offensive chanting, but offensive chanting is much better than no chanting at all. Somewhere we have to start. Perfection is something we get during the journey. But if we wait for perfection, we will never actually start at all, start the endeavor at all. Somewhere we have to start. If a person is actually liberal and intelligent, he can advance and become perfect in devotional service, even if he has material desires and serves the Lord with some motive. Whenever Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, listen to this carefully. Whenever Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, he undoubtedly does so, but he does not award anything which after being enjoyed will cause one to petition him again and again to fulfill further desires. So we have to be careful before we petition the Lord. I'll read this here carefully. Whenever Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, which means if somebody goes to Krishna asking for some material desire to be fulfilled, he undoubtedly does so, which means Krishna will fulfill. But how will he fulfill? Terms and conditions apply. He will fulfill, but he does not award anything which after being enjoyed will cause one to petition him again and again and again to fulfill more desires. Which means Krishna will fulfill our desires in such a way like Birbal in Krishna Devaraya's assembly. There was one jester by name Tenali Ram. Might have heard. So once the king organizes a competition and he says, whoever wants to enter in this competition, I will give you a cat, small cat, and I will give you milk every day. 10 liters of milk for you to feed. Competition is after a month. Whoever can make the cat grow biggest and weighing heaviest, they win the prize. So everyone took Tenali Ram for his part also. He took and he also got the quota of milk. 10 liter milk supplied to his home every day. So then Tenali Ram, what he does is, first day, Normally, if you see cat, I don't know if you have experience with cat. I have experience with cow and cat also in our home. So, Prabhupada actually goes to New Vrindavan. And in New Vrindavan, they had just milked in the farm, in the barn there, they had just milked the cows. But from the udder of the cows, the milk is still dripping little bit. And Prabhupada sees one baby cat, kitten, running everywhere and still trying to take. You can imagine how cute it must have been. And Prabhupada looks at it and he laughs and he says, you see, this is Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan. Even though cow is such a big mighty animal, this is a kitten, small cat. Still it is going and running, living peacefully with the other animals. Prabhupada says like that. So, cat especially, they are very much addicted to drinking milk. You leave the milk open little bit, they'll come and drink. So we had cows in our home. So we have to be very, very careful. Sometimes you close it, they'll still push the lid and they'll still drink the milk. So in this instance, Tenali Ram, what he did was, who will feed the cat? I like the milk. So what he does is, first day he boils the milk. When it's like super hot, and then he calls the cat. Cat comes little bit closer, as soon as it just tries to lick the milk little bit, tongue gets burnt. After that, that cat gets so allergic to anything that is white in color. Second day, he gets the milk without boiling and he leaves it and he watches the cat. Cat doesn't come closer because cat is still thinking, it is hot, I'm not going to go. So for 30 days, he enjoys the milk. And then at the end of the month, when everyone actually brings the cat, Tenali Ram alone brings the cat, but unlike the other cats which are like stout and fatty, Tenali Ram's cat is very skinny. So everyone laugh at him, and then the king says, what did you do with the milk? Then he says, my lord, for some reason my cat hates to drink the milk. So then the king says like, no, you are cheating. I think you drank all the milk. You just used it for your family. Then he says, no, my lord, this cat doesn't like to drink milk. So then the king says, no, you are lying. Then he says, my lord, if I prove that this cat doesn't drink milk, will you award me the prize? He says, yes. Then he says, bring the milk. And he lets the cat loose. Cat sees the milk here, runs away in this direction. And then he gets the prize. Now let's come back to this verse. When Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, he undoubtedly does so, but he does not award anything which after being enjoyed will cause one to petition him again and again and again to fulfill further desires. Krishna's fulfilling of material desires will be like Tenali Ram feeding milk to the cat. Krishna will fulfill desires in such a way that we will think, Krishna, I don't want this anymore. Why? Because Krishna knows this is going to be detrimental for this devotee. But Krishna is very kind that if Krishna doesn't fulfill at all, then devotee will be heartbroken. When I talk about devotee here, we are not talking pure devotees here, neophyte devotees. Chaturveda bhajante mam, jana shukrituna arjuna, artho jignyashu artarthi, jnani cha bharata rishabha. One of them. If they come to Krishna wanting something, Krishna will fulfill. But Krishna will fulfill in such a way that the devotee, whoever offers prayers to him, they will still have their desires fulfilled, but they'll get fed up of the desires. They don't want the desire to be fulfilled anymore. Dhruva Maharaj, classical example. When Dhruva Maharaj goes to forest in Madhuvan, he goes there to gain a kingdom greater than his grandfather, which is Lord Brahma. How is it possible? It's not possible. He is the topmost being in this planet. How can anyone possess something greater than even Lord Brahma? Dhruva Maharaj did. Krishna still came, fulfilled his desire by giving him Dhruva planet, pole star. But then, simply looking at Krishna, Dhruva Maharaj lost the taste and he's saying, Swami Kritarthasmi Varam Nayache, I don't want it. But you can put this verse into application in that scenario. Did Krishna fulfill the desire? Yes, he did. But how did he fulfill the desire? He fulfilled the desire in such a way that the devotee in question lost the taste for what he asked for already. But does that mean Dhruva Maharaj lost everything? Absolutely not. He gained Krishna. There were three people who were once serving a king. Prabhupada says, in wartime, even a farm boy will become an overnight hero. Because in emergency, they will recruit anyone. People did like that even during World War. You might have come across scenarios like that. So Prabhupada says, normally, only the most trained soldiers, they would actually go defending their country. But in emergency time, anybody, Prabhupada says, even an ordinary farm boy will be recruited. However, the beauty here is, because he is just an ordinary farm boy, whatever he does in the battlefield gains the attention of the king. Prabhupada uses this analogy to say, similarly, we are fighting this war against Maya, we are trying to do Sankirtan, we are trying to distribute books. Whoever attempts to do, they will gain immediate recognition from the Supreme Lord Krishna as much as a farm boy gets from the king who fights defending the country during wartime. So in a country, there were three people like that who defended the kingdom, gaining the king's attention. So the king asked them to come to his assembly to award them. He calls the first man and he asks, what would you like? Then the first guy says, my lord, I would like 1,000 gold coins. He says, Tatastu, take it. Calls the second guy. I am very pleased with your efforts. Because of you, our country got defended. Our nation is safe now. What can I give you? And he says, my lord, I need a bag of diamonds. He says, Tatastu, given. Third guy comes. And the king asks him, what do you want? And the third guy says, my lord, I don't want a bag of gold coins or bag of diamonds. All I want is to just serve you lunch in my home once. Then the first two men, when they actually look at the third guy, they were actually thinking, this guy must be really stupid. What would we ask if we are in his position? We have to think. So then he says like that, and then the king says, all right, you have served me so well, putting your life in line to defend the country, I will fulfill it. Then he sends all the three, date is fixed, and then he asks his minister, so is everything okay for us to go? Then the minister says, my lord, my king, can you postpone the date by another 3 months? Then he postpones it. Then the king asks him again, are we ready to go? He says like, my lord, please postpone it by another 3 more months. Then he postpones it again. And then the minister, finally one day he says, my lord, you are ready to go? Let's go tomorrow. And next day when the king actually comes, the king was shocked because even though this boy was actually living in one small hut, usually king doesn't go to any home, ordinary home. In order for a king to go, generally if you see any president of one country going to another country as a guest, there will be one person you can actually see. They are called the protocol minister. So if a king comes or if a president of another country comes, the president of the local country, they go strictly by rule book. Okay, you have to go greet him, shake hands. You have to walk alongside him when he actually inspects the parade, inspects your army, so on and so forth. When there is, for example, when there is a dinner that is actually hosted on behalf or to welcome the visiting guest, nobody can actually get up until the guest in question actually gets up. There are protocols, strict protocols which head of the states they follow. Likewise, ancient times also, whenever kings go, kings don't go to ordinary place. Unless they are in disguise or something, they don't usually go. Especially here, he is going as an official guest to someone else's home. Which means the person can't be an ordinary farmer. Now, who knew about this? Minister knows about this. So the minister then explains to the king, my lord, the reason why I asked you to postpone for 3 months, 6 months like that is because you are head of the state. And you can't go to this boy's home directly. I needed time to raise his status. And then when the king goes, he gets stunned. He sees a new city there, actually erected. And the king actually feels very much pleased with the intelligence of this farm boy, actually. And he makes him his commander-in-chief. A devotee, when they actually pray to Krishna, they don't ask for anything material. What do they pray for? They pray for only eternal devotional service. Wealth will just come on its own accord, just like for the third farm boy. Who is the most intelligent here? The one after bag of gold coins, bag of diamonds, or the one who invited the king as his guest in his home? So when we worship Radha Gopinath, we can start anywhere. But our ultimate goal should always be, my Lord, I don't want anything, I want only you. You simply come. Please reside in my heart. One Acharya writes, the reason why the lotus feet of once Prabhupada, when he actually installed Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani, the very first Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani in our temple, ISKCON temples, Prabhupada said, so when you take darshan, you should take darshan of the lotus feet. And devotees are asking Prabhupada, in Jagannath, where is the lotus feet? Prabhupada looks at the disciples and he says, oh, okay, take darshan, whatever that's visible for you. Acharyas say the reason why lotus feet of Jagannath is not visible is his lotus feet is in the heart of the devotees. That's why it's not visible outside. Devotees actually carry the lotus feet of Lord Jagannath in their hearts. So when we pray to Radha Gopinath, we may have some difficulties. We should pray. They are our father and mother. Who else other than them can solve any issue? You want anything, we should pray. Where else can we go? We should. But we should also understand whatever we are actually praying for, it's not going to take me to a permanent solution, but it can aid me in my journey. So we should still pray. Pray for good health. Pray for, comfortable material situations so we can practice Krishna consciousness peacefully. In one morning walk, when Prabhupada was actually going, he sees one disciple walking barefoot. Prabhupada says, material world is already difficult. Why do you want to make it more difficult? We'll wait for you, wear your slippers and come. So, material world is already difficult. We don't need to introduce any additional austerity. So, we can pray to Radha Gopinath to make the situation favorable, situation comfortable, so we can practice Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga peacefully. Okay, you don't want to sit, pick up the beats thinking, will I lose my job today? Or how will I pay the mortgage that day? Okay, will this happen? Or will my relationship actually continue with my partner, so on and so forth? Definitely we need to be in a comfortable, favorable position. So definitely we should pray. But we should understand the idea of us praying all this is so we perform our bhakti for Krishna properly. And we understand no matter how much we actually ask for from the Supreme Lord, we cannot manage our life. That's why we should follow Arjuna. Mahajanayana Gata Sapanta. What did Arjuna do? My Lord, I don't know how to drive the chariot. You drive my chariot. You take care of my life. That's the best prayer we can actually offer to the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavatam also you will see. I think it's Prithu Maharaj when asked, so what did you like? My Lord, you are my father. This is the most intelligent prayer you can offer. My Lord, you are my father. Just like how a parent would know what's best for the child, you give me what you think is best for me. And they accept it that way. So if somebody tells to Krishna, Krishna, you give me what you think is best for me, Krishna will say, well, I'm best. I will come. That's what happens to Nabi. When he prays, my Lord, I want a son who is like you. Then Vishnu comes and he says, well, there's nobody like me, But since you have called me, all right, I will become your son. And he becomes his son, Rishabdev. So when we pray to Radha Gopinath, we have to pray, my Lord, this is the situation I am in. You please take care of my life. And they will take care of our lives. We discussed this past time before when there was forest fire, when Vyomasura, when he goes and he lights the fire because he wanted to devour all the cows, cowherd boys. So he sets the fire, fire goes from the ground all the way to the sky. I was reading actually one description about Giriraj Govardhan. It's mentioned, Giriraj Govardhan's height is, if you see Vedic cosmology, 5th canto, you will see like almost 10,000 yojanas higher than Bhumandala plane is where Surya Bhagavan is actually driving on the chariot driven by Aruna. You will come across like that. That's like 80,000 miles. Description goes that those horses which we are actually doing, they will graze the grass on top of Giriraj. That means you can imagine how tall Giriraj must be. Same height, 80,000 miles almost, more than that even. So here in this particular pastime, he lights, fire goes all the way up. And now everyone is turning to Krishna. Krishna. Then Krishna says, don't worry, I'll take care, close your eyes. Then all the boys closing our eyes. If we are in that position, if Krishna tells us to close our eyes, will we close our eyes? We won't have that faith, but we need to have that faith that whatever Krishna asks me to do, whatever Krishna, Prabhupada says, Supreme Lord is always ready to give directions from within our heart, through our spiritual masters, through Shastras. Question is, are we ready to take it? So anyway, when Krishna tells them to close their eyes, they close their eyes. One Acharya writes, reason why Krishna asked them to close their eyes is, Krishna is thinking, when I was a baby, I took little mud and I ate. They went and complained to Mother Yashoda. Now I'm going to swallow the fire. These guys, they'll go and complain. Better I ask them to close their eyes. You better close your eyes. Then they close their eyes. And then Krishna, Agnipana Krishna. We have a devotee by that name in our yatra. He drinks Agnipana. He drinks the fire, or he swallows the fire like a drink. That's what Agnipana Krishna means. So here, whenever Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, he undoubtedly does so, but he does not award anything which, after being enjoyed, will cause one to petition him again and again to fulfill further desires. He will come, give himself. Yam labdva chaparam labam. Andente nadikam tata. After obtaining which, devotees will feel perfection. Perfection means the success which they have actually attained, nobody can take it away. And after attaining that success, devotees will feel, I don't have nothing more to gain. I'll finish with this. When one has other desires but engages in Lord's service, Krishna forcibly gives one shelter at his lotus feet, where one forgets all other desires. So Krishna will give so much that they will forget what I really want, because Krishna is the greatest wealth. One of Krishna's name is Dinanath, Dina Bandhu. One who is the property of the needy, one who has lost everything. You may lose your money, lose your job, lose everything. Then Krishna is like, yeah, you are qualified, I am your property. Whoever who has nothing, Krishna is their property. That's why one of Krishna's name is Dinanath. Dina is, or Dina Bandhu also you will come across. One who is the relative, only shelter of one, of everyone who has nothing. I'll stop there. Any questions or comments? Fantastic. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Shri Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai, Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Devotees in Mahaprabhu TV, YouTube and Facebook ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath's devotees ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna